talk to you again. I was here last year for some other race that you may remember. I'm Joe Alfieri, and I'm running against Mr. Addis here, who's a fine man. We want to thank him for his service. So, and I also want to thank Carla and her team for putting this together, because this is public education, and you voters need to know where everyone stands on the issues. So thank you, Carla, and everybody else involved. We also have a number of state representatives, and we have our sheriff here, we have Commissioner Duncan, we have Tony Vishnitsky, and we've got Peter Riggs and some others here, if I miss you. It's not an easy thing to do what they're doing, so we need to thank them. Public service is a very important thing. It's the foundation, one of the key components of the foundation of our republic. If you don't know about me, I'm going to give you about a 5-minute biography. You might be able to detect a slight accent here. Unlike Ben, I did not grow up here. I grew up in a small town called Brooklyn, New York. Population twice what Idaho's population is. And to give you a visual picture of myself, if you saw the television show Welcome Back, Kotter, if you remember the opening scene of that, that is my high school, the Utrecht High School, and the scene was actually shot from the roof of the building I grew up in. That's Bensonhurst, Brooklyn, and part 2 of that visual for you is, if you recall that wonderful movie, Saturday Night Fever. I'm not going to do any disco. When Tony Manera orders that slice of pizza, that was where I hung out, and I did go to that disco. That is my era, and I did dance there. The floor was not lit, so that was done for the movie. So anyway, that's my background in Brooklyn, New York. I spent the first 35 years of my life in New York City, and while I was there, I founded the first retail computer store in New York City. It was called Computerland of New York, and we had, in 1980, we were selling Apple II computers to companies like the New York Times, or Newsweek, Time Magazine, etc. We were very successful immediately, right out of the bat. And I had thought about computers in 1978 or 1979. I bought my first computer, which was a 4K, 4K Ohio Scientific, and with a tape cassette as a storage mechanism. But I had this idea that computers can empower us. The access to information was so important. And we would possibly, in the future, have the ability to access public libraries or see works of art. And I will tell you, I saw that in 1980. And obviously it's happened. So I sold the store off the next year and went into advertising and became a type director for a major New York advertising agency called McCaffrey McCall. If you remember the Mikey Likes It commercial, I was involved in that, and Mercedes-Benz and some other, anyway. So got married and saw the political climate in New York City and decided not a good place to raise children. So my wife and I moved to California to follow her family. California at the time was conservative. Wow. Pete Wilson was governor. I think there was a conservative senator as well. Raised a family there and started another advertising agency. We serviced the Apple computer market, the peripheral Apple market. We had to close that business, unfortunately, because the Apple market share declined dramatically. So got out of that and went into web design, and I became a corporate trainer and traveled around the country training companies like EDS and General Motors on web design. So life change, divorce, frankly, and met my second wife, Caroline, and Caroline is a native Idahoan. That's my attachment here. Her family actually came out with Kit Carson, my mom's family, and we started visiting here, and I decided that when we were empty nesters, we were going to get out of California because we couldn't take the political climate anymore, and come to a place where freedom was valued. And we moved here, my gosh, it's almost 10 years now. It'll be 10 years in October. And went to work for an agency here as a business developer and retired from that a few years ago. And then decided, like many of you here, it was time to serve. It was time to go back and serve. Now, some of you were veterans. God bless you for that. Thank you. I did not get that opportunity. I was not drafted in the Vietnam War. I didn't volunteer either, frankly. But it's time for me to give back, and I'm giving back. I'm giving back because I think Idaho's headed in the wrong direction. And I'm supposed to smile at this because I've been told I shouldn't be angry. Last time I was accused of being angry. But I think if you're not angry at some of the things that are going on, you're not paying attention. We are, thank you. We are headed in the wrong direction. We are growing the government. We are growing the state government at an incredible rate. Now, this year, we have, I think the budget is an additional 9% over last year, if my memory's right. But it's actually not 9% more expenditure, it's 20+% more expenditure, because what's happened is that they've taken money out of the rainy day fund and used it to fund some other areas of the government. You cannot continue to grow government and continue to maintain your freedom, because government is by its nature, whether it's evil or not, it's an intrusion on your freedom. They are always going to come back and issue more regulations and tell you things you can do and things that you can't do. Now, we had a $1.9 billion surplus in the budget this past year. And that is a reflection of how strong our state is. Idaho is a very strong state. We have a fabulous economy. We're growing, there's no question about that. But somehow, on a $1.9 billion, our tax cut was 0.5%. There's something wrong with that. There's something wrong with our state when we have the third highest sales tax and when we tax groceries. Yes. All right, I'm going to sound like a liberal here, and this is I grew up a liberal. I grew up a Democrat, so I was blessed by Ronald Reagan and changed, converted. Taxing groceries is horrible because it hurts the people who can least afford to pay it. The people at the bottom. That grocery tax has to go away. No question about it. And that's one of the things that if I were to occupy Mr. Addis' seat next year, I'm going to work on diligently, as hard as I can, eliminate the grocery tax. We need to, the gas tax, you know what our gas tax is? You know what you pay in gas tax? 33 cents on a gallon. 33 cents plus 18 cents to the federal government. We've got a $2 billion surplus. If I were to come to you and I said that I needed $200 to do something, the project was going to cost $200. Right? I was a contractor on your house. $200, that's a very low project cost, isn't it? Let's call it $20,000. That's more realistic. And I only spent $11,000 on that project. Would I put that $9,000 in my pocket? Would that be right for me to do that? No. No, it goes back to the people. It's our money. So tax reform is something I'm thoroughly committed to doing. Some of the other issues that concern me are election integrity. And again, I want to compliment Jennifer and Jim has left us here, but he's gone to a meeting, I know. They are absolutely diligent in making sure that our elections are secure. There's no question about that. They work very, very hard on it. But the state has some issues. The American Heritage Foundation did a survey this past year about election integrity across the country. And Idaho ranked 38th in election integrity. And that's because we have some laws that allow for things to happen that are wrong. For example, absentee ballots may be collected by an individual and brought into the election office. That's ballot harvesting. It can be called, I've heard called granny harvesting. No offense to grannies out here, but granny gardening actually. And, or grandpa gardening, or not. I'm a grandpa. So that needs to go away. That's got to go away. Affidavit voting, you show up on election day and you don't have any of your credentials with you and you're not registered in the system, but you can say, you know what, I'm Joe Blow, I live here, I'll sign an affidavit, you're going to let me vote. That's wrong, that has to go away. You know why? Because that takes your vote away, it steals your vote, right? So that's got to go. So those are a couple of things that I'm most concerned about. Again, the biggest thing for me is I think we're headed in the wrong direction. I think I've always been able to kind of see trends as they develop. I saw the trend in computers. I saw the trend in internet, web design. I saw the political trends in New York and left. I saw the political trends in California and left. I've come to Idaho. I'm not leaving, no matter what the trend is. We are going to secure our freedoms. And I ask for your vote and any help that you can give me. Thank you.